Everybody, and welcome back to Lisa's Library, where we read RPG horror stories. And today's RPG horror story was given permission to be read by nobody, because once again, the username was deleted. But the name is The Time I Ended a Relationship and Destroyed a Group by Doing Little to Nothing on Accident. Hello everyone, long-time reader, first-time poster. Recently, with the whole corona situation, I have been playing a lot of D&D, online, of course, which has led me to think a lot about my past with D&D. I've been DMing since I was 16, and I've actually only been a player in 2 campaigns that went more than 2 sessions. The first was an amazing campaign done by a friend of mine who made basically a whole new world with literally thousands of years of written lore. That's a lot of work. I am currently DMing right now a Spelljammer one, and I just keep improvising everything and then having to figure out how it fits. He pretty much wrote a novel about the world we were in, and it was awesome. The second, however, was one of the worst experiences of my D&D life, and it all started on Reddit. Feels like a lot of times it is on Reddit. I think it's RLFG. I think that's the one that a lot of people use. I could be wrong. So, about a year ago, I had been looking for some new online friends to play D&D with. None of my friends liked DMing, and I was getting burnt out on it myself and wanted to play as a player for once. So I went to Reddit and managed to find a group to join. On the surface, it was a bit odd, as I had to apply, but I was quickly informed that it was just to weed out people who were barely literate, since this was all going to be over text, and people who were particularly intolerant as one of the members was gay, and that caused problems in her previous group. I understood and agreed, passing the first test easily, as it was just a yes or no test about not being a D-head, basically. I understood and agreed, sorry. Just, this is what you get when I just straight through. Got confused for a second, cause missing the words. Okay, being a D-head basically. The second test was a bit odder, as my interviewer, a female, wanted me to roleplay a slice of life session with her to make sure I was good enough writer, I guess. I agreed, still not seeing the red flags that were pretty clearly there, and did it. It does seem a bit weird to do that. I feel like you're going to be roleplaying in the actual session, and if it doesn't work, you can just let them know. It was weird, but fairly normal, minus 1 or 2 times where she tried to make it somewhat sexual, which I shut down as I really wasn't interested. Regardless, I was told I passed, and I was let in the group. I was pretty excited to get in and to get to playing, so I rolled my character, a human cleric. That day, even though the first session was a week away, I do the same thing. I get so excited that I make characters that will never see a game, because I just like making characters. As I waited, I also got to know the group. There was the person who interviewed me, who we'll call Sam, the DM, Sam's friend, who we'll call Kate, and Sam's boyfriend, who we'll call Dave. They were all pretty cool, but also a little bit off. Dave was super nerdy and awkward, but was an alright guy. Kate was very anime, and would occasionally send nyans with messages. I don't know how to say that. And the DM was super chill, but just always seemed a bit off. But Dave, Kate, and the DM were all normal when compared to Sam. What I didn't realize at the time, but now know, was Sam was a total psychopath. During the first session, she DMs me and starts flirting with me, and not subtly. Now keep in mind, we really haven't spoken much, and all she knows about me is that I like D&D and I'm a guy. I didn't even tell her my real name. I feel like some people do get off on that whole thing, not knowing the person behind the screen, feeling validation and getting messages back and, stuff like that. It's not right, but people do that. Things get worse, though, when she, during the course of the campaign, makes a point to belittle and attack Dave while praising me. For example, during an encounter, Dave rolled a nat 1 and failed to kill an enemy that was at low health and was focusing Sam. Since I moved next, I attacked and killed it, which led to Sam chastising Dave for not protecting her and calling me her white knight. I kind of just brushed it off because it didn't really seem to bother Dave, Kate, or the DM, who actually knew Sam, so I figured it was maybe just how they joked around. I have a feeling it's not. And you can joke, but I feel bad for Dave because I guess it depends on how she says it. If she said, "You're not protecting me," or, stuff like that, or I don't know. I don't even know how you could even say it to make it not sound bad. The rest of the session goes pretty normally, with Sam repeatedly DMing me flirtatious messages about the campaign, which I ignore. When the session ends, we all thank the DM and break to meet up again next week. Only Sam keeps messaging me. Eventually, I decide it would be best to nip this in the bud and just tell her I'm not interested. I tell her that I'm already in a relationship and that I'm not really comfortable with the flirting, but that I would love to be friends with her. She takes it pretty well and agrees that it was inappropriate, but also asks me not to tell Dave. I reluctantly agree on the condition that she tells him herself. The next couple sessions are pretty normal, and although the flirting stops, Sam keeps chastising Dave's character and flirting with mine. So she went from flirting with OP to OP's character. Although Dave and Kate seem to be good sports about it, with the two even joking about having their characters set ours up, but I mostly ignore it. Besides, my character is basically a celibate monk, so I consider it could just be ribbing about that. Then one session, it gets particularly bad. Dave's character is a stereotypical edgy knight. We had just taken down a camp of cultists, and Kate suggested we interrogate them, but Dave, acting fully in character, says that he wants to torture them to get information, to which my lawful good monk disagrees with. Sam, despite being true evil, decides to side with me and proceeds to unlash a torrent of insults against Dave and Dave's character. Okay, what? Why? That's, extreme. Very extreme. She's true evil, deciding to go with a lawful good. By the way, this is a weird group. True evil with a lawful good? I don't... Oh, big yawn. I just put the baby down for bed, so it's a little late. The kind of stuff that would make a nun blush. After she's done, Dave says that he's done for the day. Makes sense. If you were sitting there playing a game, playing your character, and then I think it's his girlfriend. I believe that's his girlfriend. Sam's friend, and Sam's boyfriend. Yeah, that's Sam's boyfriend, and she's sitting there berating him and treating him like shit. And we all agree to break for now. I DM Dave about an hour later and ask if he's okay. And I also DM Kate and the DM and ask them if this is a usual thing and what they think we should do about it. All of them tell me the same thing. It's okay, don't worry, and don't get involved. I reluctantly let it go. The next day, however, I wake up to a series of messages from Sam. The first couple telling me that she loves me and that she wants to be with me. Then she sent a 9 to 10 paragraph long, one-sided, sexually explicit roleplay between our characters. And then she sent me a series of someone who she claimed was her, which frankly I still don't really believe. She's acting kind of like a 14-year-old, because, when you're in school, you're dumb. And this is the sort of thing that dumb kids would do. They would go on Google, grab some nudes, send it to some guy online that they met. I don't know. Maybe it was just my friends. Yeah. I tell her that I am seriously not comfortable with any of this and to stop messaging me privately. At this point, I'm also considering leaving the group, but she apologizes and tells me that she was off her meds. Oh, so now all of a sudden she's on her meds? I tell her I'm still not comfortable with us DMing, and she says she'll stop. About an hour later, I get another DM from her, this time telling me that she told Dave about us. There is no us. What? I feel so bad for Dave, and now he's threatening to and that she has nowhere else to turn. I tell her I'll talk to Dave and that he seems like a reasonable guy, but that if she is scared, she should call the police or tell someone who can help, given that I wasn't even in the same country as her. She is lying. I know for a fact she's lying, because I remember hearing a story similar to this. It was from Bailey Sarian. Yeah. This guy was like, oh yeah, this girl was like messaging this guy saying that her husband was beating her and trying to kill her and that she was like trapped and stuff. And he actually went there and, offed her husband because of these lies. And then when he found out it was lies, I think he ended up, it was like all in like I think he did suicide. Yeah. It's kind of reminding me of that. I DM Dave and ask him what's going on, and he says he doesn't know what I'm talking about. So I explain, and he doesn't respond for a while. Then, about an hour later, he tells me that he just broke up with Sam, and that this was the first he had heard about any of this. Meanwhile, Sam starts messaging me, talking about how now that Dave's out of the way, we can be together, and that I'm a true alpha. By the way, that is something a teenager would say. Okay, every girl teenager goes through a phase of wolves and shifters. Well, at least I did, because I was a nerd. But, this is the opposite of true. I tell her I'm not interested, but she thinks it's part of some act, and tells me that she was only dating Dave to make fun of him and to use him for money. As this is going on, Kate starts messaging me, calling me a homewrecker, and Dave sends me an extremely long message that I can only classify as an incel manifesto. Finally, I decide to block all three of them and message the DM and tell him I'm out. Interestingly enough, when I tell him that, he says that he actually doesn't know any of these people really, and that Sam was secretly paying him to DM. He thought they were all pretty weird too, but the money was good and they mostly just left him alone. What? He was just getting paid to be there? Anyway, that's my nightmare D&D story. TLDR, I joined an online group and was harassed by a crazy girl, which led to a total group meltdown. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going through some of these messages. I'm wondering if he could, I really want to know what the guy sent. Okay, what were the contents of the incel manifesto? Mostly it was just about how he used to think that women only chads. But then when he started dating Sam, he felt differently, but now he knows better. It was mostly sad, but there was some pretty sexist stuff like women's only purpose is to reproduce and raise kids type of stuff. Oh, well, yeah. I don't know what it is. It's almost exactly like that one story that Bailey Sarian did. And I'm really confused about how it's so close, and yet it's D&D related. Which, maybe it's just that they want attention. That's the whole thing. They want attention, so then they start creating up lies, or they just have a really weird mind. I don't understand people like this, but anyway, please let me know what you think down in the comments. Like and subscribe if you want to see more. And I'll see you next time. Bye!